Kevin Lomax was a lawyer known for his exceptional skills in the courtroom. However, he often used his talent to defend criminals, ensuring they escape justice. This story begins with one such case, highlighting Kevin's moral dilemma and the consequences of his actions. The story opens in a bustling courtroom, where a young girl is testifying against her school teacher, Mr. Getzi. She describes in detail the inappropriate actions her teacher had taken, not just with her, but with several of her school friends. The judge listens intently, taking notes as the girl bravely recounts her experience. Kevin Lomax, the defense attorney for Mr. Getzi, initially believes his client is innocent. However, as he listens to the girl's testimony, he starts to realize the truth. Getzi is guilty. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Kevin finds himself in a moral quandary. His instincts as a lawyer and his sense of justice clash. He requests a 15-minute break, which the judge grants. During this break, Kevin confronts his client, angrily telling him to stay away. Frustrated and conflicted, Kevin heads to the bathroom to gather his thoughts. There, he encounters Larry, a reporter, who taunts him, saying, "I think today you are going to lose the first case of your life." Kevin's ego takes over, overshadowing his humanity, and he returns to the courtroom determined to win. Back in the courtroom, Kevin adopts a ruthless strategy. He bombards the young girl with questions, twisting her words and manipulating the situation. He asks, "Is it not true that you made a vulgar drawing of your school teacher, Mr. Getzi, because you hate him? And didn't you frame him because he is a fat, ugly man?" The girl tries to explain that it was all a joke, but Kevin deftly changes the context, portraying his client as the victim. Kevin continues his relentless questioning, asking if the girl, Barbara, had ever hosted a party at her home. When she admits to having an adult party once, Kevin seizes the opportunity. He suggests that Barbara convinced her friends to testify against Mr. Getzi during that party. Bound by her oath to the Holy Bible, Barbara reluctantly agrees. With this admission, the entire case shifts. Barbara protests, saying she only did it because she didn't want to be left alone, but her words fall on deaf ears. Kevin's strategy works. By showing the vulgar drawing, he convinces the court that Getzi was being bullied by his students, garnering sympathy for his client. He then questions Barbara's character, implying that her adult party was inappropriate and casting doubt on her credibility. This combination of evidence and character assassination allows Kevin to overshadow the truth that Getzi had indeed committed the crimes. In the end, Mr. Getzi is declared innocent, and Kevin wins the case. His actions leave a bitter taste, as it becomes clear that he has once again used his talents to free a guilty man. The story serves as a stark reminder of the power and responsibility that come with being a lawyer, and the fine line between justice and manipulation. After winning the controversial case of Mr. Getzi, Kevin Lomax celebrated with a lavish party, reveling in his victory. Despite knowing he had freed a dangerous man, Kevin prioritized success above all else. In the midst of the celebration, a man named George approached him with an irresistible offer. Kevin would move to New York, select jurors for trials, and in return, he and his wife would receive free food and accommodation. Kevin, eager for new opportunities, accepted immediately. The next scene takes us to a church, where we see Alice Lomax, Kevin's devout mother, praying. Alice, a staunch believer in Jesus, had been Kevin's rock since his father abandoned them when Kevin was just 3 years old. Kevin, seeking his mother's advice about moving to New York, visits her. Alice, however, vehemently opposes the idea, believing New York to be a den of sin and vice. She warns Kevin that the city is ruled by devils. But Kevin, confident and persuasive, manages to gain her reluctant consent. Kevin and his wife, Marion, soon leave Florida for New York. Kevin quickly proves his worth by selecting a jury that helps George win his case. Impressed by Kevin's success, John Milton, the owner of New York's largest law firm, takes notice. Milton invites Kevin to his grand office, where Kevin feels an inexplicable attraction to a mysterious woman he sees there. In a private and enigmatic meeting room, John Milton offers Kevin a position at his firm, promising him wealth, power, and women. During their conversation, Milton quotes Matthew 10 verse 16 from the Bible. "Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, so be wise as serpents and innocent as doves." He urges Kevin to remember this verse, hinting at the secrets it holds. Kevin and Marion are then shown their luxurious new apartment, a far cry from their previous home. Kevin's first case in New York involves defending Moise, a black man accused of sacrificing animals in his home, allegedly practicing black magic. The case seems nearly impossible to win. In court, Kevin employs his signature technique of twisting the narrative. He argues that religious freedom allows individuals to practice their beliefs in various ways, including animal sacrifice. He draws parallels to other religious practices, such as walking on fire. Kevin's compelling arguments sway the judge, and he wins the case. Kevin's success continues to grow, and he becomes increasingly busy working with John Milton. His moral compass, however, seems to waver as he gets deeper into the world of high-stakes legal battles and temptations. Kevin Lomax found himself engrossed in his burgeoning career, leaving little time for his wife, Marion. However, Marion wasn't entirely unhappy. The glamour of the new city was a welcome distraction. One evening, they attended a lavish party hosted by John Milton. Marion, feeling vulnerable, made Kevin promise not to leave her alone. But as soon as they arrived, Kevin got caught up in a conversation with Natasha, a beautiful woman at the party, leaving Marion to fend for herself. John Milton noticed Marion standing alone and approached her with clear flirtatious intent. They shared a drink, and John boldly suggested she straighten her hair, remarking, "You should get your hair straightened before someone lays an egg in your nest." His comment was forceful and intrusive, making Marion self-conscious. After the party, Kevin met with John, George, and Eddie, an old lawyer from the firm, in John's office. John had a significant case involving Alex Cullen, a wealthy businessman accused of murdering his wife, adopted son, and maid. Despite Eddie being the senior lawyer, John assigned the case to Kevin, which infuriated Eddie. When Kevin returned home, he found Marion drunk and angry. She had been left alone at the party for 3 hours, despite Kevin's promise. The next day, Kevin met Alex Cullen, who was unhappy with John's decision to give his case to an inexperienced lawyer. John reassured Alex by highlighting Kevin's unbeaten record in court, and Alex reluctantly agreed to work with him. Meanwhile, Marion spent time with George's wife and saw a disturbing vision. She couldn't tell if it was an illusion or a result of intoxication. When she told Kevin, he dismissed it as her imagination. Marion's isolation grew, exacerbated by the loneliness of their large apartment and Kevin's constant absence. Kevin thought having a child might help, but when he approached Marion, he was startled to see Natasha's face instead of Marion's. Kevin's focus then shifted to Alex Cullen's case. He questioned Alex about why he had picked up the gun at the crime scene. Alex explained that he was scared and thought someone else might be in the house. He also revealed that he was with his assistant, Melissa, that night, implying she could provide an alibi. In next scene, we saw, concerned about Marion's deteriorating mental state, Kevin called his mother to New York. When John unexpectedly arrived with 2 young women, Kevin's mother was visibly shaken. John introduced her to the women, but in the elevator, his probing questions unnerved her, and she could only stare back at him. The next day, Kevin met with Melissa, Alex's assistant. She confirmed that Alex was with her at the time of the murders, providing him with a potential alibi. Despite the mounting evidence and the complexities of the case, Kevin remained steadfast, determined to unravel the truth and secure another victory. After the intense case, Kevin found himself traveling with John Milton on the metro. John stared intently at a man, which angered the stranger. The man approached John, hurling insults. In a fit of rage, he pulled out a box cutter from his pocket. Fear spread among the passengers, but John remained calm. He spoke to the man in a quiet, commanding voice, revealing that at that very moment, the man's wife was with another man. John even named the man's wife, leaving him stunned. The man immediately exited the metro and ran home, desperate to confirm John's unsettling revelation. Kevin, perplexed, couldn't understand what John had said. Later, they attended a boxing match. John seemed to know in advance who would win, adding to the growing mystery of his uncanny knowledge. John, always surrounded by women, was trying to shape Kevin into a similar image. Meanwhile, Marion was slowly losing her grip on reality. She dreamt she would never become a mother, and despite Kevin's reassurances, she believed the dream to be true. Kevin, worried about Marion, confided in John. John advised him to leave the case and focus on his wife, who needed him the most at this time. However, Kevin wasn't willing to abandon the case. For him, the case took precedence, even over Marion. In the courtroom, the opposing lawyer savaged Alex Cullen. When it was Kevin's turn, he did something unexpected. He said, "Like you, I don't like Alex Cullen at all. I wouldn't be surprised if you feel the same. Alex Cullen is a man who cheats on his partners, fights with his family, and has fraud charges against him. Because of all these reasons, none of us like Alex." It seemed like Kevin was against Alex. But then Alex spoke, making everyone reconsider. "Ask yourselves if disliking this man is enough to blame him for this murder." Kevin expertly twisted the narrative, portraying his client as a victim rather than a criminal. The day's proceedings ended on this note. Kevin then went to see Melissa, Alex's assistant, who could potentially prove Alex's innocence. He trained Melissa, asking her various questions to ensure she didn't reveal anything damaging in court. However, Melissa stumbled on one point, leading Kevin to realize she was lying. It became clear to Kevin that Alex had indeed committed the murders. Shaken, Kevin told John, who advised him to follow his heart, suggesting this might be the time for him to lose his first case. "You don't have to win every time," John said. But Kevin couldn't accept defeat. He resolved to win, and he did, managing to free Alex. Returning home, Kevin found Marion terrified. She claimed that John had done something terrible to her that afternoon, but Kevin knew John had been with him in the courtroom at that time. Realizing Marion's mental state was deteriorating, Kevin took her to the doctor, who admitted her to the mental hospital. As Kevin struggled with his conscience and the unraveling of his life, the story highlighted the relentless pursuit of success and the devastating consequences of losing one's moral compass. The following day, a man from the Justice Department approached Kevin, who initially didn't want to engage. However, when the man mentioned that the school teacher Kevin had once defended had been caught that morning with the body of a 10-year-old girl in his car, Kevin stopped in his tracks. The man explained that he had been investigating John Milton for a long time. He revealed that Milton's company had tentacles in every conceivable business, from arms manufacturing to drug trafficking, and he needed Kevin's help to bring John to justice. But just then, a car hit the man, killing him instantly. Shaken, Kevin rushed to see Marion, whose condition was deteriorating rapidly. His mother had also arrived to support Marion. She took Kevin aside and revealed a long-held secret. She had come to New York in 1966 on behalf of the church. During her stay at a hotel, she had met Kevin's father, a waiter, who had an inexplicable attraction. Kevin, overwhelmed, couldn't bear to listen to the entire story. As he was processing this revelation, Marion, in a fit of madness, slashed her throat with a piece of glass in front of Kevin. He cried out in anguish, but fortunately, Marion survived and was rushed to the ICU. Kevin's mother continued her story. She revealed that Kevin's father knew the Bible by heart and had once quoted, "Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, so be wise as serpents and innocent as doves." Kevin realized that his father was none other than John Milton. Kevin confronted John in his office, which was anything but ordinary. John was not a mere human. He was Lucifer, the god of hell. Kevin, enraged, pointed a gun at John and demanded to know what he had done to Marion. John calmly admitted his actions, and Kevin fired multiple shots, but the bullets had no effect. John revealed his true identity and his plan. He wanted Kevin to father a child with his half-sister, who would then rule the world. John reminded Kevin of the conversation they had on the metro. He had advised Kevin to lose this time, but Kevin, driven by pride, had refused. Kevin, realizing the depth of his mistakes, declared that he may lose, but he doesn't ever give up. John taunted Kevin, saying he had warned him not to pursue the case, but Kevin had ignored the advice, abandoning his wife in the process. John's final revelation was chilling. He needed Kevin to give him a child with his half-sister to rule the world. Kevin, horrified, realized he could change his fate. He declared that he still had free will and shot himself, causing John and Natasha to burn and return to hell. Suddenly, Kevin found himself back in the washroom from the beginning of the story during the Getsy school teacher case. Larry, the reporter, entered and tried to provoke him into winning the case. This time, Kevin refused to continue, having learned his lesson. The courtroom was shocked by his decision, but Marion supported him. Kevin felt a profound sense of relief and happiness at having Marion back. Larry made another attempt to goad Kevin, but Kevin ignored him, understanding now that Larry was Lucifer. In the end, Larry declared, "Vanity is my favorite sin." Kevin realized that his pride, the devil's gift, had been his downfall. The story ends with a reflection on the 7 deadly sins, gifts from the devil meant to destroy humanity. Kevin had conquered his pride, but the battle against these sins continues for everyone. So, how did you like this story? Do share your thoughts in the comments.